What's up everyone? Welcome back to the kitchen for another recipe video. Today I am so excited to share with you how to make this amazing katsu curry. So katsu curry is a Japanese dish, and the katsu part refers to a breaded protein, and of course a lot of the time it isn't vegan friendly, but today we are making breaded tofu. This stuff is so crispy, so delicious, and it goes so well with the creamy curry. So the curry is a Japanese style curry, which means it is like really mellow, really sweet, but still really flavorful. And this is actually a great curry for people who don't usually like curries. But if you're a curry lover, you are gonna absolutely love this. I was inspired to make this dish after Crystal and I went to the UK recently, and we went to a restaurant called Wagamama, and they had pretty much this exact thing on the menu, and it was absolutely delicious. And we kept thinking about it after we got home, and I was like, I've gotta figure out how to recreate this. And luckily enough, they actually had the recipe on their website. So this is definitely taken from that, but of course I put my own slightly healthier spin on it, and it turned out incredibly. So I hope you enjoy it as much as we do. Let's get started with this recipe. Oh yeah, and before we get started, as usual, as I do with these recipe videos, I will put the recipe in the description box down below to make it nice and easy for you guys. You want to start by preheating a medium-sized saucepan, then finely chop one medium-sized onion, then add that to the frying pan. And I'm gonna keep this recipe oil-free, so I'm just gonna add a splash of veggie broth to help it cook. Saute that for 5 to 10 minutes until the onions are soft. While that's cooking, grate one large garlic clove, and then about an inch of fresh ginger. I usually just grate it with the skin on. Feel free to peel it if you want, but I haven't found it to be necessary. So right about now, your kitchen's starting to smell pretty good, but it's gonna get better because now is the time to add some spices. So I'm gonna start by adding a couple tablespoons of mild curry powder. So try different curry powders if you don't like the first one that you try, because they do all have like a slightly different blend. And this is like the best one that I found around where we live, but you might be able to find another one. You can just buy like pre-made Japanese curry paste, or even like just the fully made sauce, but a lot of the time it has like some pretty wacky ingredients in it. Some of the time it's not even vegan either, so that's why I like to make my own, and it's really not that hard. So 2 tablespoons of mild curry powder, and then give that a stir and cook that with the onions, garlic, and ginger for a few minutes to start to release some of those flavors in the seasoning. And if it starts sticking to the bottom of the pan, just add another splash of vegetable broth. Add 1 tablespoon of all-purpose unbleached flour. This is gonna help thicken everything up once we add some more liquid. Add 300 milliliters, or about 1 1/3 cups of veggie broth. Next, measure out 100 milliliters of full-fat coconut milk and add that. Since Japanese curry has a pretty sweet element to it, we're gonna add 2 teaspoons of coconut sugar. If you're using just regular sugar, maybe 1 teaspoon will do it, but you can always add a little bit more at the end once you try it. And then lastly, 1 teaspoon of tamari or soy sauce. So the next step is actually to blend this all up, because you want this to be like a really nice silky smooth sauce. So I'm just gonna grab the old Vitamix here and pour this in. You obviously wanna be really careful because it's hot. Is it on low? Yeah, you really want to make sure this is on low when you start it, because you don't want it going everywhere. Now back into the saute pan, and you want to bring it up to like a really low simmer. So next we're going to make the crispy tofu katsu. This goes so well with this creamy curry. So most of the time, tofu katsu or chicken katsu or whatever is deep fried, but we are not going to do that. We're going to bake it today, and it turns out so well. So let's get started. So we're gonna have 2 containers. One is gonna be for the wet stuff, and one is gonna be for the dry, for the breading. So for the wet mix, we're gonna start with 1/3 cup of water and 3 tablespoons of flour. And then give that a good mix. And then for the breading, we're gonna use 1/2 cup of panko breadcrumbs, 2 teaspoons of garlic powder, 2 teaspoons of onion powder, and 2 teaspoons of nutritional yeast, 1/2 teaspoon of black pepper, and 1/2 teaspoon of salt. Now that that's done, I'm just gonna move it out of the way and slice up the tofu. So you wanna use extra firm tofu for this, and I like to cut the slices pretty thin, because the thinner they are, the more breading, the more flavor, the more crispy. So what I found is it's best to use one hand for the wet stuff and then one hand for the dry, and keep them separate, because if you don't, things get kind of messy. And then fire those into a 400-degree preheated oven for about 40 minutes in total. But you're gonna wanna check them after about 20 minutes and flip them over if necessary. So since the tofu is going to take so long to cook, you could probably do the curry while the tofu is cooking, but I didn't want to start a curry video off by not making curry. So that's why I kind of did it in this order. Oh yeah, look at these. Let's see how crispy they are. So now it's time to make a meal out of this. So I'm gonna start with some cooked rice, some steamed broccoli, then that crispy tofu katsu, and the creamy curry. So look how nicely this turned out. Oh my gosh, I'm so excited to eat it. Let me get into it. Wow. Oh my gosh, this is so good. I can't wait for you guys to make it. It is one of those recipes that is just perfect. Like there's just so many elements that seem to go together so well. The creamy curry and then that crispy tofu. And the tofu is even just like good on its own. So depending on your tastes and the type of curry powder that you use, you might want to use a little bit more sugar in this because some curry powders do tend to be a little bit bitter. I tried this with a few different ones and yeah, some of them were just a little bit more bitter than others. And if you're giving this to someone who's like new to curries and they're not used to the flavors, then yeah, definitely like load it up because they'll really love it. All right, so that's it for this video. I hope you enjoyed it. I'm gonna go and sit down and enjoy this. I know I have to make up a bowl for Crystal because this is like one of her favorite meals. So if you enjoyed the video, definitely hit the like button, subscribe for more, and I will see you soon with another one. Bye-bye. Here's some other videos of mine that I think you might like, and if you're looking for some delicious and healthy plant-based recipes, check out my new recipe ebook, Easy Vegan Comfort Meals. It contains over 60 plant-based recipes, lots of delicious sauces that I know you're gonna love. Thanks for watching, and thanks for the support.